What if the blood of one battle didn't awaken compassion, but fueled even more conquest? What if Emperor Ashoka, the man history remembers as the monk king, had never embraced Buddhism? Would India have become the land of peace and dharma, or the heart of an empire that cast a permanent shadow over the ancient world? Let's travel back to the 3rd century BCE, to a time when the Mauryan Empire stretched across almost all of India. At its center stood Ashoka, grandson of the great Chandragupta, Maurya man-born for power, strategy, and ambition. But Ashoka was not always the gentle king we read about in our history books. He was ruthless, fierce, and hungry for expansion. He was known as Chandrashoka, or Ashoka the Fierce, a testament to his brutal methods and fiery temper. His ambition culminated in his most famous conquest, the Battle of Kalinga. This wasn't just a battle, it was a massacre. The war was brutal. Over 100,000 people were killed. The Daya River was said to have turned red with blood. The sheer scale of death and destruction horrified Ashoka, and it was this horror that made him drop his sword and turn to Buddhism, peace, and compassion. This single moment changed everything. He spent the rest of his life promoting Dharma, or moral law. He built hospitals for people and animals, planted trees along roads for travelers, and dug wells across his kingdom. He carved his moral teachings, his famous edicts, into pillars of stone and rock faces that still stand today, reminders of his transformation. He even sent his own children, Mahinda and Sangam, as missionaries to share the peaceful teachings of Buddhism across Asia, most notably to Sri Lanka. He became Ashoka, the emperor who conquered without war, a ruler whose greatest victory was over his own aggression. But let's flip the story. Let's explore the alternate reality. What if Ashoka had never felt remorse? What if, standing on the blood-soaked battlefield of Kalinga, instead of guilt, he felt triumph? Imagine Ashoka surveying the burning fields not with a heart full of remorse, but with a conqueror's cold calculus. The rivers of blood aren't a horror to be mourned, but simply the price of progress, the necessary cost of building an empire destined to swallow the world. In this timeline, there's no epiphany, no Buddhism, no renunciation, no peace edicts carved into stone. Instead, we have an emperor who doubles down on conquest. Chandrashoka never goes away. His ambition, now validated by the greatest military victory of his life, becomes boundless. He sees Kalinga not as an end to war, but as the beginning of a new chapter of relentless expansion. The Mauryan war machine, already the most powerful in India, is perfected, not dismantled. He would have looked beyond the borders of India. To the west, the once mighty Seleucid Empire, the remnant of Alexander the Great's conquests, was beginning to crumble. An ambitious Ashoka, with a unified and battle-hardened army, could have seen this as a golden opportunity. He might have marched west, pushing into Persia, modern-day Iran, and even clashing with the burgeoning powers of the Mediterranean world. To the east, the rich lands of Southeast Asia would have been an irresistible prize. Instead of sending monks with messages of peace, he would have sent fleets of warships. The Mauryan Empire could have established maritime dominance, controlling vital trade routes and planting their flag across the region, from modern-day Myanmar and Thailand all the way to the islands of Indonesia. He wouldn't be remembered as a peacemaker, but as a man determined to rival, and perhaps even surpass, the legacy of Alexander the Great. If Ashoka never embraced Buddhism, the world map as we know it could look very different today. But the changes would be far deeper than just borders. The very soul of Asia would be altered. Without Ashoka's imperial patronage, Buddhism might have remained a small, local philosophical sect within India. It likely would have never become a world religion. Think about that. No missions to Sri Lanka, no Silk Road monks carrying scriptures to China, no resulting spread to Korea and Japan. The magnificent, giant Buddhas of Bamiyan in Afghanistan, tragically destroyed, but a testament to Buddhism's reach, would never have been carved. The principles of Zen would never have blossomed in Japan. The entire spiritual landscape of Asia would be unrecognizable. Back in India, the religious and social fabric would have evolved entirely differently. Hinduism's rich philosophical development occurred in constant dialogue, debate, and exchange with Buddhism. Without that powerful, state-sponsored counterpoint, what would Vedic traditions have become? Would different philosophies have risen to prominence? The caste system, which Buddhism challenged, might have become even more rigid and unyielding without such a prominent critical voice. The legacy of India on the world stage would be transformed. Instead of being known as the cradle of spiritual traditions that emphasize inner peace and non-violence, India might have been remembered as the heartland of a ruthless military empire. The name Ashoka would not evoke thoughts of compassion, but of conquest and fear. Ashoka the Great would be known as Ashoka the Conqueror, a name spoken with the same awe and terror as Genghis Khan or Attila Hun. The cultural DNA of Asia would shift entirely. Philosophies of peace, mindfulness, and compassion, which have deeply influenced global thought, might have been replaced by ideologies of power, dominance, and martial glory. Even the modern mindfulness and meditation revolution, so popular in the West today, has its roots in the Buddhist traditions that Ashoka helped spread. Without him, our modern quest for inner peace might have taken a completely different path, or perhaps never even begun in the same way. It's staggering, isn't it? One emperor's moment of guilt, one man's profound change of heart, literally altered the soul of a civilization. Ashoka, as tears after Kalinga didn't he, just save the lives of those he would have conquered next. They planted seeds of thought that would grow and blossom across to millennia, shaping how billions of people think about kindness, morality, and the very purpose of life. It is a powerful reminder of how a single moment of conscience, one person choosing to listen to their heart over the roar of the battlefields, could ripple across 2,000 years and shape the soul of a continent. It makes you wonder about the pivotal moments in our own lives and the impact our choices have, even when we can't see the final outcome. The story of Ashoka teaches us that while power can build empires, it is compassion that truly builds civilizations. If Ashoka had never turned to peace, maybe the world would never have known Buddhism on a global scale. Do you think humanity would still have found its way to these ideals of compassion, or would a history of conquest have ruled forever? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this journey into an alternate past, make sure to subscribe for more what-if stories that rewrite the world you thought you knew. Thanks for watching.